Hey,
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. Hello,
Great.
everyone.
Great. Another week, another show.
Another week, another show. We're pretty happy, and I was looking at at our old shows, and I think we have three views: you, me, and Peter.
Yeah, I think Peter erased his, so it's down to
Oh,
two.
it's down
Yeah,
to
yeah.
two now. Yeah,
It's-
but well, welcome back to the one person who's listening to us. So welcome to Scouting Mass. As always, we're brought to you by the Western Mass Council, your local Scouting America council. I'm. This is Rich, and I am Alex, and we're. I'm pretty excited today. We have a guest on, a friend of mine that I've known for about 10 years, and she's had one heck of an interesting 10 years with travel and everything like that. So we're gonna try to see if we can, embarrass her and get all the facts out of her. But hello, Lisa. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all ours. So, what any opening words before we launch right into grilling her with our
Oh
spotlight and the
boy.
heat
Did you
lamps
have
and
a chance
everything?
to tell her basic the concept of the show, what we do here?
I kind of told her in general, but please say it in your
So,
words.
so Alex and I are both involved in volunteering with scouting up here in Western Massachusetts, and the show is not about scouting, but we talk to people in the community, our various guests, about their backgrounds, their experiences, their likes, their dislikes, and we try to tie that into some of the values we're instilling in young people through the scouting program. So you'll hear us make references throughout the show as we're chatting with you or other guests in the future about that, and we go all over the place. We talk about all kinds of things from animals to hobbies to space aliens to alternative realities to whatnot, but we try to keep it light and interesting, and we're not looking at hot button issues. We're not political. We're not religious. Those are things other shows can take care of. We're just trying to have some fun with some people in the community and learn a little about folks.
Except for the religion of Portia, for which we will accept no substitute, right?
Oh yes, yes. I think yeah. We'll talk about cars again. That'll come back up.
So Lisa looks pretty pained already, but
Well, I
hey,
didn't know this was going to be a camera thing. Like, like prepared. Like, you caught me off guard with that, Alex.
I did, and I apologize about that. So I met you right around 2016, and not long after I met you, you had to go to, I believe it was England. You were in England for a while. Do you remember
Uh,
where you went?
I do remember where I went. I went to Germany. I was in Wiesbaden, Germany, and it was 2018 to 2021.
2018 to okay, so you came back about a year into the great apocalyptic
Yes.
COVID.
Yes, that's actually why I came back because it was awesome out there. I loved it. Um, I made friends and I was healthy. I lost a bunch of weight. Um, I was running every day. I got promoted. I got to travel. They had concerts all the time and just like festivals, and they had so much, like they had thermal spas, and there's just like a different way of life. Like you can literally hop on a train and go to Amsterdam, or um, just go to a different city. And but yeah, I came back because my tour was coming up at the end of my tour, and my brother was watching my dogs in Texas because my original plan was I was going to take them abroad with me at some point after I got my apartment and situated, but I couldn't find a place that would take two dogs. And my brother at the time with his ex-wife, they were living in Texas, and they had a farm, like a legit farm. Their neighbors had like a cow farm, and they had all this acreage and extra room. So we just worked it out that my dogs would stay in Texas while I was away. and it was just best for them. And my brother ended up getting a divorce. Um, I want to say 2021. And that was one of the reasons that I came back. I didn't extend was for my dogs because COVID was also in effect there, and it was basically like before COVID, it was awesome, um, lots to do. But then once COVID hit, it was like lockdown. It was like being on deployment. Like the only places you could go literally were the grocery store and the drugstore, and there was a curfew at I think it was like 8 o'clock. You couldn't be on the streets, and if you were on the streets, you had to wear a mask. So it just wasn't fun anymore. And if I would have brought my dogs out there, it would have cost tens of thousands of dollars because all the flights were jacking up their prices because flights were limited. But yeah, that's the reason I came back. It's for my dogs.
Well, I think the most important question is what kind of dogs?
That was going to be mine. You read my mind on that. What kind of dogs do you have?
They are, I call them rescues because they're basically, they're just mutts.
Mixed, yeah.
But yeah, they're mixed. But Bella she's technically a pit bull, but her paperwork says a shepherd mix. I got her when I was with my ex fiance, from somebody that had that was in his unit in the military, and he had passed away unexpectedly, and his family didn't want to keep her. She was just a puppy, and we were looking for a second dog, so we decided that we would take her in since she didn't have a home to go to. And then Hank is a Whippet mix. I guess you call him, he's like part Whippet, part Labrador, and they call him Whippadoos. It's like, it sounds funny that like I didn't even know it was a thing until I was like just kind of Googling it one night when I was bored. And he's a Whippadoo, and I got him from an animal shelter up in Bloomfield, Connecticut, called the Simon Foundation. It's a non-kill animal shelter. I used to volunteer there a while back, and he was a puppy. They had rescued his mother, and he was born. She had a litter at the animal shelter, and he was born there. Somebody adopted him, but then returned him, and he was the only puppy out of that litter that was returned. And I was working up front at the front desk, and he had like this little like a pin type of thing, like where he would just sit in the middle, and he would just stare at me when I was sitting at the front desk. And I kind of just went over to him one day, and I picked him up, and he was so tiny, like he could just, I would just hold him like a baby.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with him, and I took him home. So
That's awesome. That's super awesome.
It is very awesome. Very cool.
they're my babies.
Yeah, most definitely. Part of the family for sure.
Yes.
Do you wanna? I've been yapping. You yap next.
Oh, my turn to yap?
Yeah.
That should not be a problem, so it should be good. So that's awesome. So we mentioned, or I had heard this from Alex in the beginning too. You've done some volunteering. You mentioned volunteering at the dog shelter or the animal shelter. So that's obviously near and dear to you. And I believe you've done that. He mentioned doing something, the horse ranch also. Could you tell us a little bit more about some of your volunteering? What drives you to that? Why you like to do that? What motivates you in some of the places, if you wish to share? You don't have to give names per se, but just descriptions of the types of places you volunteer.
Yeah. I do like volunteering. I don't know. I guess ever since I was younger, I've always felt like I've kind of just not really belonged anywhere. and
Welcome to the
I like
club.
to like I never know like really where I fit in the world, but I like to help. I've always liked to help people, and volunteering is one way where I can like give back. And um, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people these days are more like with the social media and like the selfies, and they're just like into themselves, and they don't really I don't know. It's like I feel like social media has kind of like killed a lot of like just the human, um, the basic human like just like having a conversation.
Mhm.
So like I don't know, volunteering is a way for me just to actually like have a conversation with somebody face to face and interact with somebody and help at the same time. And I have done God, I've been doing it for as long as I can remember. I've volunteered at the Simon Foundation.
What's that?
Uh, that's the animal shelter up in Bloomfield,
Oh,
The
Connecticut.
the no kill shelter.
the no-kill
Yeah,
shelter.
Yep.
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. I've done that. I did. I've done a soup kitchen up in Enfield called Loaves and
Hmm.
Fishes. Um, I've done High Hopes Therapeutic Riding Center, which was children and adults with disabilities. Um, it's a therapeutic riding program for like they have horses, and that's where I met my friend Chelsea. Um, and she has a barn in East Haddam, Connecticut called Factum Equine, and I volunteer there now. And I help her out whatever she needs.
Can I jump in on that for a sec?
Yeah.
This woman that Lisa's talking about named Chelsea
Hmm.
with the Factum Equine farm.
Right.
The way Lisa and I well, Lisa and I started talking about this podcast in two ways, right? We're going to circle back to that, but she gave us one of the questions that we sort of took up and discussed, and I definitely want to get back to talking about that. But the other thing she did, meaning Lisa, is she said, "Hey, let me give this lady your information and let's get her on the show. Let's get people knowing about it so that if anybody wants to volunteer there, if anybody wants to support." So obviously volunteerism is, one of the core ideas, one of these things that scouting tries to teach, which is I think you're, by the way, I think you're being a little hard on yourself about. It sounds like you're fitting in just great. In fact, it sounds like you're fitting in the best way, right? You're looking for ways to do things that are not self-serving. You're looking for ways to give back to society. In your particular case, through animals, right? Which Rich and I.
Yeah, and just I mentioned this in the beginning too, Lisa, and we kind of move over to these little values that we're teaching youth through scouting, and you're exemplifying some of those with your volunteering as being kind, helpful, friendly, kind of serving in the community and doing these things, which is awesome. It's like right in line with our values here and our mission of the show. So that's very cool that you
Oh,
mentioned
that's
those.
awesome.
Very
I
much so.
feel like I don't know, I feel like it's lacking in the world. So I just try to be a good person, and I just try to be a decent human being. And I read a quote like a long time ago that said just be a decent human being. Like most people won't understand what that means, but once you understand what it means, it'll change your life. And just try to do better,
Yeah.
to be a good person.
Well, I think you gotta define. So be a decent human being. You have to define what that means. You have to first define what the words mean, right? When you're old enough to understand what the word decent means and what the word human being means. So that's at the very first level, right? Just speaking English, so to say. But then you have to make some decisions about what it means to be decent, right? Which is another way of saying like I have to define my values
Right. What are values that are important to me?
to me.
But to be maybe a decent human being, those would be, what values do I share with others that would be recognized as being decent values? And I like to believe also most people are decent and want to do good things for others. We don't always hear about it. We don't hear about it. And you alluded to that, Lisa, that it's lacking. It is lacking because we don't hear about it.
Yeah.
But we see about the negative, and that's just what we're just drawn. It's human nature also to see something that's out of the ordinary or the unusual. And it's nice is boring. Being kind is boring,
right?
but it's
Or
important.
yeah, it's very important. It's very important. And like I feel like the news just blows everything up. Like, oh, they want to like what's the word I'm looking for? It's
Sensationalized.
yeah, it's like toxic.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yes.
want like toxic headlines and just
Which is
it's
perfect because we're non-toxic right here. So
Yes,
this is really,
yes,
this is
yes.
really good.
In fact, we're like health. We're like the health food
We're
of
kind of like the
podcasts.
organic.
Yes,
Yeah,
we're an
yeah.
organic, all
Yeah,
natural.
we cost a lot
podcast.
more, but it's worth it. Yeah.
But you know,
Oh, gosh.
let's and you said to me, I'm not interesting. Look at the fascinating ideas that you're
I'm
putting.
not. I don't think I am.
Right.
Everybody's interesting. Everyone has a backstory. So you told us about your travels. And again, we'll go a little further back if that's okay. And you don't have to identify places and things like that. But where you born, where you're raised, that kind of thing.
So I am from Connecticut, and I've basically lived in Connecticut my entire life, but I can't just like say like I've lived like in one town in Connecticut as a child. We moved around quite a bit. My parents were divorced, and my there you go. My parents were divorced when I was, I want to say 6. So we lived with my mom, and she did the best she could for us. And I lived in East Hartford, Manchester, Colchester, Newington, New Britain, like Glastonbury, like kind of all over the place. So,
That's okay.
Middletown, it's kind of sad.
No, it's actually interesting because different background from yours, but I make a joke. Junior high school is 2 years normally. I attended 4 different junior high schools in
Oh my
4
God.
different states across the country, 2 New England and 2 in the West. And just long, it won't get into my story, but it was just weird. I said, it's crazy, but it gives you this different perspective sometimes moving around, which is difficult when you're a youth, fitting into a new school and with neighborhoods and things. But you also just come back pretty resilient. I think you're very adaptable and flexible to things.
Yeah.
And I want to say something else about that. Like, it's funny that we talked about this, but I was just having a conversation with another good friend just today, and I put forward the idea that the negative experiences that happened to us when we were children, in a sense, are a gift, because if nothing else, if you go through some pain, it teaches you some empathy. And
Yes.
I think the world's a little short on empathy.
Yes.
And so, if you know the pain of fitting into a new social group, I think you're a lot less likely to ostracize and push away when you meet
Right.
somebody new. So there's a very real sense where going through negative things, you can turn those into a gift later on. So, I think I share your experiences. Between 4th grade and 12th grade, I think we changed continents twice, and I went to about 4 or 5 different schools in those
Oh, wow.
8 years. So yeah, it's hard, but you grow, like Rich said. So anyway,
Yeah, so very interesting. Moving around, living in different places. Fortunately, in the same state. So, but you're meeting some different people, some different, I call subcultures or communities. That's pretty cool. College or trade school.
just go straight into
Fun
military.
jobs for fun jobs. Military. Anything interesting?
College, I graduated from Asnuntuck Community College up in Enfield, Connecticut. That took me forever to do, but I'll I'll tell you a story. So I was one of the special ed kids.
Remember, whatever you reveal, as many as 4 people might hear it. So, be careful sharing things.
Could be 4.5.
it's
Maybe
fine.
4.5.
Yeah.
So I was like in a special ed kids class growing up, and I was always told that like
Me
I
too.
would never be able to go to college and I would never graduate. But so that was like a personal goal of mine to like at least get my associate's degree, and I did that in 2022 from Asnuntuck. It took me forever, but it was a thing.
That's a good goal. And you're obviously working, going to school part-time or full-time while you're working. And are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, I just see this like the flag of some unknown country. It's like black and 2 banners of gray. I don't know. I don't know what country that is, but
That's the southwest European country of depression,
Oh, is
where
it?
it's
Okay.
gray, black, gray.
yes, as opposed to the black gray black from the neighboring to the north. So fun, it's kind of a reference to fun with flags here, but that's an interesting story, and it's so then it's being resilient, facing adversity. Adversity in this case, just being people saying you're not going to do this. I always hated that. I've heard that in school. I'm a little bit older than you. We did not diagnose students when I was in school with anything in particular, dyslexia or ADHD. Those things weren't diagnosed. It was just like focus, get through everything, do whatever. Had to see a speech therapist in second grade or something. Had trouble with the classic words. I remember saying the plural of desks. Had trouble with that, so I had to go to the little speech therapy class.
Would you say tables?
Yeah, tables. Yeah, tables was much easier to pronounce than desks. And it's kind of funny, not funny, but a few years later, I was just talking to a friend about this. Looking at my life and doing things and not finishing. I was not a great student in school. I would dare say finishing in my high school class out of like 220 people, it's probably like 212 number on that. I have a friend that finished number 2 in his class the year ahead of me.
Oh wow!
And so he was the straight A kid that goes to UMass and then washes out and goes to community college, and then goes back to school and is doing his thing now, which is great. But he's been like all up and down, all over the place. And I'm the knucklehead people are like, hey, I don't know, maybe the military is a good idea, And I did do that in the National Guard, and that was like one of the best decisions I made. Because together with being stubborn, with my background in as a scout and going into the military and just being a stubborn person, I found out a few years ago, about the time I met Alex. About the time you and Alex met too, it was kind of determined I probably have ADD. There's no age. I'm not running around the room, but more ADD. And I said, you're kidding me. I'm like in my 50s and you're diagnosing this now. And I managed to just get through life. You just, you compensate. You don't realize it. You just do what you have to do to move on. So I like to say that story where I'm like not the smartest kid in school. I'm not the most popular kid. But I look back, seeing opportunity that I jumped on, took advantage of, did my best at, and I've thought I've had a pretty successful career in life so far. Just doing things I've done and working, back down in East Hartford where you guys are, and in some other places, it just worked well. I think you just keep plugging away, and you be willing to take on something that somebody may not want to. Joking earlier in a meeting I had earlier about volunteering, specifically volunteering with the military, and people are like, oh yeah, make sure you're the guy that takes a step back. And I'm like, well, that's the old joke, but also there's a part of it where sometimes you step up and you do something because you're the person that can figure it out, whether you're the 3rd choice or the 30th choice. You're the person that's going to figure it out and make it happen. So very cool stuff. I think your story is good. You finish your degree. That's all that matters.
I totally relate to that. Lisa, if you wanna like, if Rich and I are exchanging something like an idea, and you want to comment on our idea, you feel free to comment upon us too. But
Okay.
I remember that movie with Jim Carrey, Yes Man.
Okay.
And basically he just like, I think it was Jim Carrey anyway. I think he said yes to everything, right? Like he something happened to him where whatever was offered to him, like, hey, you want to eat an ice cream? Yes. Hey, you want to go climb a mountain? Yes.
Would you rob a bank? Yes.
Well, yeah, that's the
The premise is he's forced to tell yes or affirmative answers. Yeah.
exactly. But I had seen that movie, and it was an interesting concept, right? And I definitely used it in the Air Force. Just say yes, just do stuff. Like if the opportunities come up, like you traveled to Europe for the job, right? You said yes to that. I mean, I know you had to apply and such like that, but you said yes in your mind to the adventure, and I
It was
think
the
there's
best thing for me. I would love to go back.
So I want to ask you why it was the best thing for you. Let me just say two more words, finish my sentence. I think it's important to sometimes say yes, right? I heard that piece of advice too, like never volunteer for nothing.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I volunteered for everything,
Right.
and sometimes it was just okay, and other times I learned something. Do you want to say anything about that, or
No, I say that really in the military, in my mind, applies to basic training. Beyond that, you volunteer. Don't say anything basic training, lay low.
Yeah.
Don't let people know who you
Oh,
are.
I like that.
Beyond basic training, volunteer, because that's somebody once said. I actually like this. Don't attribute to me. I don't know who said it. I can't remember the person, but the phrase or the comment was, "Don't be afraid to bite off more than you can chew, because your mouth is bigger than you think."
You have more ability than you know, and you won't
Something
know.
like that.
No,
I
I
like the
it.
way the other person said that first. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. So
I also
what?
Go ahead.
No, you
I
go.
also think that like when you volunteer, it puts you out there and it makes you more like well-rounded. Like you get to learn a new task or you get to make contacts and it's people skills. You're learning how to communicate and you're just I don't know, it's good overall.
Yeah.
Good thing.
So you just said a second ago, I'd love to go back. I'd go back anytime. Why? What about? So obviously you were in Wiesbaden, but Wiesbaden is in Germany. If anybody out there doesn't know, but you traveled through Europe. What was it about the experience that you got a lot from?
Um, it just opened my eyes to the world. My dad's calling me right now. That's so
Well,
funny.
why don't we can why don't you put yourself on mute and do what you got to do, and we'll Rich and
No,
I will just.
it's okay.
Is
It's
it all
okay.
right?
Yeah, it's fine. I'll call him later.
Okay.
I don't know. It was just it opened my eyes to the world. It got me out of my comfort zone. Um, so I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and when I was in Afghanistan, my mom had passed away 3 months before I came home from deployment, and it kind of really messed me up and put me in like a really um, dark place, like depression and everything. And she was my best friend in my world, and she was living in my house that I had with my ex fiance, and it was just kind of like, oh wow, like everything has shifted, and I didn't know who I was without her, so like I just didn't want to be here, and I wanted something new, and I wanted to, um, I don't know, figure out who I was, because my whole life, I've just kind of been doing stuff for other people, and I was just kind of lost after my mom died, and so I had this opportunity, and I went over, and I got healthy and I made goals for myself and I got promoted and I figured if I can make it out there in another country by myself, like, and I didn't know the language either, and I I could make it anywhere, and I thrived out there, and it was just a different world, like um just
So it wasn't so much about the place. It was about what was happening inside of you, and it was about you taking the chance of going to the place. It wasn't necessarily something about Wiesbaden. That's what I think you're saying? I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like necessarily about Wiesbaden. It was just it was just like the place where I was in life, and I needed a change. I needed a change of scenery, and I needed to grow as a person and figure out what I was doing with my life, and I just needed to get away. I needed to heal, and just needed to see something different and do something different.
What branch were you in?
Well, I was in the National Guard, the Army National Guard, but I was in Germany for
No,
DCMA.
no, I know that. But I was going back to Iraq and Afghanistan. So you were Army Guard, got it.
Yes.
And
Yep.
what was your specialty?
For the Guard, I was a 88 Mike, so I was a
Vehicle
truck
operator, truck
driver.
driver. Yeah.
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 And then in Iraq, we were convoy security. And then in Afghanistan, I was still a truck driver, but I was acting as like human resources. I did the medical aspect of it. I did like if somebody had to go to the hospital or had an appointment, I would take them to the hospital. I'd do the if somebody got hurt, I'd initial the LODs. We do I forget, I can't even remember what you call them, the perf stats. It's kind of like it's like the tracker of where everybody is, like what different fob everybody's at, and where they are on different missions and stuff like that.
For the 4 or 4.5 people listening, LOD stands for Line of Duty Determination.
Sorry.
FOB is Forward Operating Base, and I don't know what PERSTAT is.
First, I know what she's talking about. I used to do
Personnel
that when I was in the Army
Personnel
Guard. I used to
base.
do that too. It was you're tracking everybody by their rank and their MOS, where they're supposed to be, whether they're on duty, whether they're sick, whether unfortunately sometimes deceased, they're casualties, and you're looking at that and you look at like personnel replacement. You're involved with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're sitting there. We need 4 E3 88 mics in this company, and you transfer those people in, you realign assets to make sure all your units are fully strength, or at least to the minimum required to perform their duty. Yeah,
88
I get
mics. Any 89 mics?
that. Yeah,
90
no,
mics?
no.
However many mics.
So what? So as an 88 mic, and I was not. I almost became one after leaving
was
the
Army
Army.
Guard.
Army Guard, going to the air. I went to the Air Force. I was actually an instructor at the JAG school. And I was getting bored with that. I was getting bored with being all my jobs were like admin. And I was ready to go back to the Army Guard. This was right before 9/11. I was tracking towards becoming a platoon sergeant, 88 Mike. And they said that because I was working at a part-time job at a Ryder truck rental lot. So this is great. I don't have a CDL.
Perfect.
I don't have a CDL, but somebody returns, here's the semi-tractor. Take it to the wash rack. So I'm in there jamming gears and getting it over to the wash rack. I mean, I know how to basically move it. And I'm like, yeah, I like this driving. So it leads into my question too. I enjoyed in Army Guard. You do all kinds of things. You have your MOS, and then you do other stuff too.
Yes.
Because I
Yep.
was a legal guy and a personnel guy, but I was also qualified to ride, to drive the 49 PAX bus, deuce and a half a trailer. Humvees, when they first came out, the old, we used to call them Jeeps, but they're actually MUTs, multi-use tactical truck, I think. They're not the Jeep, because if you're a car guy. So if you look at a Jeep, the configuration of the grill are
Seven
vertical
slots.
vertical slots. If you look at the
Seven.
military ones, They're horizontal because that's a trademark of Jeep Corporation.
That's right.
From World War II Korean era. So the new ones were made by Ford, some other are the newer ones. So anyway, I like driving all those
The
vehicles.
older ones were made by Ford.
Yeah.
In World War II, Ford
Willys, American Bantam, had the contracts for that.
And then
See,
American
back to
Motors
contracts, military, we're all over the place. But I loved additional duties driving vehicles. And actually, my regret is I didn't get my damn driver badge because I had the qualified hours of safe driving. Transporting people via bus or whatever, usually a bus. Nobody knew how to drive a bus. I got a bus, did a 3-point turn in a field exercise area, bringing news people from Springfield Television News out to watch people in training up at Camp Edwards on Cape Cod, and was trying. You'll like this as a soldier. So I'm in the bus. I've got some second lieutenant in the back doing one of these. I'm like, Captain, get him the hell out of here. Get him out now. I'm going to run him down. And it's just all woods and stuff. And I turn this thing around, 3-point turn. And they're like, you really can drive this. We didn't pencil whip the license. I'm like, I can drive the bus. I can drive this bus. And I did not learn that in the military. I learned it in scouting, actually. I was working at a summer camp. And they said, you're driving a bus to bring kids to camp. So I actually learned something in scouts that applied in the military, which is really
That's
strange.
awesome.
What is your favorite vehicle as an 88 Mike? Wait.
I want to belong. I want to
Oh, you
belong.
want to talk to? You have cars.
Just for a second, I want to belong. So, I was an aircraft mechanic. My AFSC, that's like an MOS, right? I was an aircraft mechanic, but a crew chief. But just like you guys, sometimes you got additional duties, right? So one of my favorite ever additional duties was I was vehicle control officer, VCO, and the Air Force. Pretty much everybody in the Air Force works on an airport, right? So we had de-icers and we had high reaches and things of that nature, vehicles that need to be used with the aircraft. And I love that job, so I can totally see how you guys enjoyed that component of it. I mean, I love cars already,
Right.
so that was up my
But
alley.
it was just a blast doing the buses. So back to Lisa. What's your favorite vehicle or favorite two or whatever?
In the military?
Yeah,
And period. I had two answers.
yeah. What'd you like driving? What vehicle did you like driving as an 88 Mike? Had to be one that was better than the other.
God, I would have to say, well, I drove the 915s, the tractor trailers. So I guess I like driving that because I felt like it made me feel like special, like, an 18, a tractor trailer. We used to go cross country with our unit, and that was fun.
That's
And
awesome.
then for civilian, like sports cars, are we talking like anything? Like if I could own
Anything.
anything,
Yeah.
anything, I would go with a Mustang, but it would have to be, well, no. My dad always had a thing for Corvettes, so I always liked Corvettes too, and I liked the Stingrays.
Yeah.
But it was like, I think it was what style? It was like 60.
63. The
Yeah,
Stingray Corvette.
The 63
Yeah.
has a split rear window.
split
That's
window.
what distinguishes it. So is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
I think
Stingray
that's
body,
the-
I think, lasted from 63 to 68.
That
Yeah.
was
If
the,
we had
Make a Shark
fans,
was the other
people
one,
would
right?
write in and correct me.
Yeah,
But
we don't have fans, or they don't have the address, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can't do that either way.
It was just, I don't know, they made cars were like sexy back then. I feel like that, like even the Corvettes, like I've had this conversation with my dad, like even the Corvettes that they make now, they just don't look the same. There's nothing.
Got a lot of character, a lot of charm to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
strikes me about the last 10 minutes? The things that you mentioned that, you're, let's say, wrestling with, the things that you want to set right in your life. Never once did you say, I don't know if you noticed this, but never once did you say, man, I was in Iraq and Afghanistan and I was so scared and all the rest of it. No, the big things, like, do you hear the bravery in your story? You're just like, yeah, I was driving a 915 across improvised explosive devices, but the real tough thing is just sort of like doing better at my job and kind of graduating from college. Like, Like that's extraordinary.
It is. That's something the average person hasn't experienced. Kudos to you. That's
I
a
don't know. I guess
testament
I
to
didn't see it
your
as
abilities. Yeah.
What did you say?
hard. I don't know. I guess I never really thought of it like that. Like it was just,
Well, that's what made it special that you hadn't looked at it that way. You know.
it's just something. We were there and we had to get through it, and
That's
you
it.
know, we
And you
just
did.
did.
You did your job.
You did your
Yeah,
job.
Yeah.
day
Awesome.
by day. That's it.
So did you get a CDL when you left the service? Did you leave the Guard? Or are you still in? And did you get a CDL? Were you able to convert your credentials to a
I
civilian license?
So I retired last August.
Oh,
I
awesome.
got my 20 years, and I did. I actually had my CDL for a while.
Good.
There was a class that they used to teach at Camp Hartel in Windsor Locks, and I got my CDL through them, through the Guard.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. So see look at that. You've got things you can fall back on. You know, you have your current profession, but there's always a skilled trade or skilled profession that you have to be licensed for. You're in the club. There's a lot of people who, you know, don't think about things like that. And they're like, well, what am I going to do now? And you could always say, I'm just going to drive trucks cross country if I need to. And, or if you want a nice change, as I mentioned on a previous show called Occupational Therapy, sometimes doing a job that you haven't done for a while or doesn't necessarily, I mentioned based on my careers mostly being desk jobs, they drive me nuts after a while. You get that mental kind of fatigue from doing a desk job. And it's like, well, let's just go like drive the bus for a while. That's why I enjoyed that so much. Like get on there, just focus on the road. You get passengers. Never thought I'd be using that big mirror in front of the, you know, the windshield to yell at sergeants in the back, like, Sarge, sit down. We're moving, sit down. So they're, you know, just like children. It's great.
Did you come that time when I gave a tour on base and I drove the bus?
Yes, I was
were
with
there?
you.
Do you remember how close I came to hitting the the fence?
Here's speaking of which, I was grabbed for all these military duties, and when I joined the Air Force, I'm getting qualified. They're like, well, you said you could drive a bus. Here's an Army license. I'm like, I can drive the bus. Let's go. They do a road test. The first thing they realize too, just as an 88 Mike, old news for you, is they go, okay. I'm like, I can't go yet. And they're like, what? I said, not gonna go. Pop the lights on. I'm walking around the vehicle, checking the lights and the blinkers.
1800.
We used to call stables in the vehicle.
Gotta do that
Doing that, and
1800.
they're looking like, okay, you passed that part of it. Let's just see you on the road. So I get my license converted to an Air Force license. I am doing something in Arizona. It's called the Weapons and Tactics Conference, and it's put on by the National Guard Bureau for the Air Guard units, and they bring all these like guys like Scott Rice, who General Rice is a gentleman we both know, who was the recently 5 years ago, director of the Air National Guard, and
In Mass.
you know, folks like that are all coming down. No, nationally, he was the director.
Oh.
He has 3 stars.
But he was also the tag in Mets.
He was before that. Yep.
Yeah.
And so they had this conference, like, we need some support people. I'm like, I'm the guy, right? I don't need to be at a desk all day. What do you need me to do? I'm setting up tables for the dinner. I'm rolling tablecloths out and moving food around. I have the bus. We're finishing up the tour. It's like a week-long conference. I'm driving. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I do these bad things. I think this is entertaining.
He is literally down a rabbit hole right now.
I'm going down.
This is
I'm
the rabbit hole.
I should have turned
He's
left at
descending.
Albuquerque, right? So
Or what are you going to
we have to
Washington?
you'll love this. Pilots, right? Pilots are the same, whether Army pilots or Air Force pilots, the pilots are the same. We have to pick up pilots at these hotels along this one road leads into the airport. I swing the bus in, a bunch of pilots jump on, they're all in their flight suits, right? And I'm like, okay, 5 more minutes, we're going. Everybody here? Because they're all at the same hotel. Oh, Scooter's not here. I'm like, well, Scooter better get his butt moving because we're heading out in a couple of minutes. So I go like an extra 5 minutes or something. We're on schedule. We have to get to an active duty base to get these people to presentations and things. So I'm like, hey, somebody want to run in and get Scooter because it's time to go. Somebody runs in, they come out like, oh, he's just like wrapping up. I'm like, wrapping up? How come you guys are ready? He's not. And they're like, well, I'm like, we're out of here. And I was an E6. I'm like, we're out of here. We just take off the bus. They're like, Scooter, they're like looking out the back window, and then you see this guy running out in a flight suit doing one of these. I can't even turn around if I wanted to. I'm like, Scooter can find his own way to the base, right? But we finish up the tour for the week, and I'm driving through, and I get a couple of guys that were cooks that were working with me, and they'd helped with the food portion of it. So I'm driving through the gate to this controlled area on the airfield, and it's the Weapons and Tactics Center, or it's called the Air Guard Air Reserve Test Center. which they fly all kinds of versions of stuff and upgrade software for aircraft and different fighter systems and things. So we're going through, we have a code we punch into the gate. The gate's very narrow. The gate opens up. I have the bus. I'm moving through it. As I'm doing it, the sergeant says, "Hey, I got to hand it to you. You've been driving this bus all week, and this is like, that's awesome. I don't know how to drive a bus. This is great." I said, so then I'm feeling a little full of myself now. I'm like, yeah, well, you just got to, pay attention, know the parameters of the vehicle.
Oh, no.
Right? And I'm going, it's like, bang, and there goes the mirror, rearview mirror. Hits the pole in the fence. I'm like, oh, my God. As I'm just taking this in. So I just always thought that was good. Like, yeah, don't get too cocky in your abilities because you're always going to muck up somewhere.
You woke Murphy. What, Lisa, what were you going to say?
I took out a telephone before,
Oh,
a telephone
nice.
pole before. So,
Awesome.
I mean, it happens.
You take the cake.
That's all. You win. You win.
It happens. Everybody hits something. I mean,
Exactly. It
It's
happens.
part of it.
But it's very ironic when it happens when someone's complimenting you on how good you are doing it. And you're like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that. I've been working hard doing it right. Oh, God.
So let me ask you two questions. The first one is, will you come back at some point in the future?
Sure, if you want me to.
Badly, yeah. I am having the best time ever. Anyway, but that's not what I wanted to ask you. So for the 4.5 fans out there, 2 weeks ago when we did sort of a solo Rich and Alex show, the RNA show as we call it, I had the bright idea, right? Because I want to talk about the things that everyday folks talk
Right.
about. So I went out to friends and I said, hey, give me some topics. And this young lady is the one that gave us if you recall, the topic of
The topics were, why is life so complicated?
why is the world so complex? Yes.
Why do dudes think the way they do?
Why do dudes think the way they do?
That came up. And there's something else in there, too.
I forgot what the third one was, but
Yeah.
we didn't touch the third one. We talked about why do dudes think the way they do and why is life so complicated. So what I want to ask you is, I want to ask you, why did you ask me that question? And I want to ask you, well, what is your answer as to why life is so complicated?
Honestly, I think we make it more complicated than it needs to be.
Why?
Because I feel like a lot of people have a hard time just like living in the moment. Most people are chasing the next thing, chasing the next promotion, or chasing a bigger house, or they want more because like I don't know if that's what the media or social media sells people, like, oh, you're not accomplished unless you're married by age 30, you have 2 kids and a dog and house right after you get out of college. I feel like it's just like the world we live in. It's not everybody has to get married. There's nothing wrong with you if you don't want kids, and there's nothing wrong with you if you just want animals. Like, I think we make it more complicated than what it needs to be. Yeah.
Interesting. Did you want to?
No, I'll just touch on it. I think you're absolutely right, Lisa. That's we do that, but there's also a lot being pressed on us by social media, by cultural expectations. It's the old story you said about the marriage thing. Everyone's expected to get married. That's kind of the thing, like the norm, right? People are like, how come you're not married? What's going on? Have you found somebody? What's wrong with you? And people do that. Everyone feels they have to be partnered up, and that's okay if you are. And it's okay to have somebody. If you have a lifelong partner, you're fortunate to find somebody. That's a good thing. But you sort of, get to figure out who you are too. That's really important to understand what you're all about, what your likes and interests are. And obviously that's much more important first. And just me speaking, my perspective. And then, if you're looking for a relationship, I think that's something once you're feeling pretty confident And not always, because we have our quirks and we all have our fears and things that we hide very well publicly. But generally, you feel pretty good about yourself, and then you find a best friend. I mean, that's what you're actually finding. You're finding somebody that's a best friend if you're moving to a partnership thing and eventually to a marriage or another committed relationship. But you don't need that to be happy. There are a lot of folks that are out doing some great things. If you have hobbies and interests, that's fantastic. Dogs are wonderful. They're really, I don't have children. Dogs are a lot like kids. I have 2 dogs. I've had a handful of dogs over the years. They're really pretty expensive like kids. The only thing you don't have to do is pay for college or get driver's licenses for them. I wasted money on one dog with, obedience school. That was like, dropout time. That wasn't good. But no, it's the same thing. You can have that, the loving environment. They're non-judgmental and they're great companions and get you through a lot of stuff. And I think I've been noticing you have a workplace assistant to your side.
Yes.
Over there to your, I think I see a little snout from up here
Cameo.
and there. Yeah, cameo
Cameo
appearance. So you get another special guest star over there kind of hanging with you like, hey, I'm right here. You don't need to be on the podcast. I'm right here.
Not to change away from the dog, which will probably get us the most views, but do you know the only thing that I'm afraid of?
What's that?
Marriage, I thought you said.
Fear itself. And good jokes,
Yeah, good, fearful of good jokes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of getting married right after college and all that kind of stuff, right? I think I would go the other way and say that no longer makes sense. We're spending, on average, 22 years in school, whether it's college or tech school or whatever, and then we join the workforce in our 20s, right? But we know, or at least research suggests, that male brains fully develop and become, the neurons become the what they're going to be for the rest of our lives somewhere in our mid to slightly later 20s, whereas females' brain become who they're going to be a little bit earlier.
Like 19. I think.
Yeah, like 19. Exactly.
That explains a lot right there.
That
Right
explains
there.
pretty much
That
everything. Right?
answers that other question.
Yeah. So what are dudes thinking? AABB, forward, back. That's what the 19-year-olds are thinking. But I think it might even be counterproductive to become involved in a relationship that you think is going to last your whole life when you haven't even answered basic questions about what you like and, more importantly, what you don't like. My wife and I used to talk about that quite a bit when we were dating, and we used to call it defining our no. It's kind of like saying, where's the red line,
Yes.
And like, it takes a second for you and me to in an interpersonal relationship, I mean, to determine where's my boundaries, right? Where's my no? And before you have that developed, you're going to think that you want one kind of person, right? But when your boundaries are fully developed, you might find that the kind of person that you thought you wanted is treading on those boundaries and is no good for you, right? You guys are not good together. So how can it be correct to try to get involved in a relationship before you've done that hard work of defining? And you called it, earlier you called it healing and growing, I think I heard you say. So until you're done sort of healing and growing and define what you like and what you don't like, how can you make a decent decision about a life partner? You're bound to get it wrong.
I think there's exceptions, and I think there are people who, I told you about me and Dawn. That was, we both got married in our early 40s. First marriage for both of us, and had just, dated and just dated other people, done our thing, and just kind of connected at that point. And we're both, I think, more mature. And to your comments, like, yeah, we sort of know what we think we want, as opposed to when you're younger. And you tend to gravitate back to social norms, right?
Yes.
Basically, guys are like, hey, here's what you need. You need a woman that looks like, a Barbie doll with blonde hair and certain, features, whatever. And women to the same.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a bad thing, because young men are taught that, young boys, and girls are kind of taught that's how you need to be to have a companion to do this, which isn't healthy for either gender. And
Well, the whole concept is the concept of choosing somebody based
It's
on
based
their
on its physical attraction,
attraction,
which
yeah.
physical attraction happens.
It's
That's
good.
That's good when you couple it with a friendship or genuine interest, shared values and things. Then you get a winning combination. And lots of times
And
people are just go ahead.
and communication.
Yes.
That's big.
Yeah.
Communication.
Well, that's because guys don't listen or communicate well. So we know.
Oh, generalization,
I'm just setting us up for the next
generalization
comment, yeah.
alarm.
No alarm here. Just the bad joke alarm.
I, I think from bad jokes from us. No, I think I may have mentioned his name before, but once again, shout out to Dr. William Newell. Here's another expression that he taught me: the root cause of all mental illness is word poverty. That was his verbatim quote. Here's the way Lisa, jump in if you want to, but here's the way I explain that statement to myself. If your vocabulary isn't complex enough and you haven't spent the time understanding words, and then you haven't taken the time to look in and put words to how you're feeling, right? Then you're going to experience, he called it mental illness, but that was more for the effect of the statement, right? But you're going to experience discomfort and pain because you are unable to describe either A, to yourself, or to a friend, or to a therapist, whoever you've gone to get some advice. If you can't put a word to your experience so that the other person can understand you and maybe make some rational, helpful suggestions, then you're very much alone. You're trapped in this bone box just as much as you could be trapped in a prison, right? So word poverty, so let me. I'll make my point. Then I want you guys to comment on it. But so going back to that question you asked, what do dudes think? Well, let's break that question down. At what age are we asking? What do dudes think at 22 versus what do dudes think at? We're slightly older than 22, but not by much. Not by much. The numbers are small, especially if you think of it in terms of
It's
infinity.
just a number.
I think of
Numbers
decades.
don't-
Yeah, I think of decades. It's okay.
Exactly. Only a couple decades. But it depends on what do dudes think at what age, and then it depends on how much effort has that dude put into getting rid of the word poverty. Has that dude become wealthy in words? Has that dude done the work to look inside his own thoughts and then put those words to their thoughts? And the more you do that, the more this communication that you're referring to, then because you can have communication, but what's the quality of it, right? I can communicate to
Exactly.
you about the cheese that I want on my burger, but that doesn't help you get to know me any better inside, right?
Exactly.
It's
you have to,
go.
you have to
Yeah,
know
yeah.
yourself. Like you said, like you have to know, going back to what you said, you have to know your boundaries and what your no's are, and you have to know what works for you and what doesn't. And I think it's all like communication is also about too, like how you, like your tone and your volume, and just being cautious of other people's feelings, and just not, because some people don't know how to have a conversation. They talk at you. Like some supervisors, they just like they talk at you, or they'll belittle you. They don't care. But those are the people that, they're not looking at themselves to see like how they're affecting other people.
Which takes us neatly back to empathy, right?
Yes. It all comes
does.
full circle.
Right? Because if you have in order to have empathy, you got to have a little bit of understanding about the person across from you.
Yes, exactly.
Do you want to comment?
No, I just think it's a great conversation, and it's very relevant to everybody. Just professional relationships, friendships, potential dating relationships. Important to know something Lisa just said too. Some people talk at you, and I think that could extend to personal relationships too. Sometimes people don't know how to communicate, how to take things, and you've got to look at people as you get to know these people, friends, colleagues, dates, whatever. You need to know what they're trying to send. What is the message? It's easy to misspeak. We all do that. Back to the word poverty. We can choose the wrong word or the wrong phrasing, or not get that message out there like I'm doing right now. I'm just stumbling over a few words.
I don't think so. I think you're building to your point. I'm following.
That's
you.
it's a good save. And building, I'm building, giving comments to think about it. Here we go.
You got to lay the foundation.
But you're talking with somebody. You sort of need to know where they're coming from. You just said that a few minutes ago. Don't take something initially as offensive.
Yes.
That's when you go back and say, wait a minute, what do you mean by that? I'm not following you. I don't get the phrasing. Sometimes we're all guilty of that, using the wrong phrasing or something that's not well received. And it's okay to politely dive into that and find out what someone's talking about. Not adversarial, not defensively, not offensively. Just, hey, I'm not sure what you meant. Please elaborate, and go on a little bit. And I see that in some dating stuff. And here we go. We can't answer that right now. Sorry, goodbye. And that's really strange. But sometimes people, this is a common thing. We make jokes about male and female discussions, right? Like, a couple dating, married, whatever. Hey, how was your day at work? If a woman asks that to a man, he'll be like, yeah, it's okay. Pretty much, right? It's like, yeah, same old stuff. But if I ask a woman, how's your day at work? She's like, Alex like dropped a chandelier by accident, and then they had to shut down the whole atrium.
Every little detail.
Yeah, and it's, but that's okay. That's just a difference in, and it's just a nuance, a difference in the sexes. It's okay. You're watching what's going on. You're taking it in. This is part of the package. Something happened. We had this go on here. We had a fire drill. Somebody, brought in some pie for dessert, and whatever. It was great. It was a great day. We got a lot of things done. Worked on some projects, whatever. And I tend to lean that way myself, actually. So I'll carry on a conversation like, "Oh, guess what happened at work?" I have the stories. Most guys are like, "Yeah, it was okay. It's okay. Where's the Xbox?"
Or you have the extreme negative people who just focus everything on the negative.
Yep.
And they just dump everything on you. I had a good friend like that. They were just completely, everything was just like a pity party. Those are the worst.
And here's another thing that wasn't said in the context of this. So my wife and I have an understanding that we don't really want to talk work. Work stays at work. Right. So oftentimes the conversation about work is as simple as, how was your day? Good. I'll ask her back, how was your day? It was fine. Now, if either one of us chooses to give more details, then the other one will listen and interact, right? Okay, you want to tell me more? You had a really bad day, or you had a really great success. I'll listen to that. But the reason we don't talk about work is because we want to talk about us. We want to talk about our dog, or our cats, or whatever we're going to have for dinner, whatever it is. Something about our lives, we keep work outside of that circle. So there's another thing. Some people just don't. Some people have an agreement not to talk about that, but like Lisa, if you had me over your house and you said to me, how was your day? And I said to you, it was fine. You might say, here's another dude who just doesn't want to talk that much about his day. But that's not what's happening, right? What's happening is that I have a pattern of behavior. Now, I wouldn't just say that to you, right? Like, I would engage in that conversation with you out of politeness because I'm a guest in your house. But if you just saw it from the outside, you might think like, oh, this guy doesn't want to talk at all. He doesn't even want to share about his day. This guy wants to talk about his day all day long, right? It's about the patterns too. It's about that hidden agreement.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
I think that you said the door's open to you and your wife. So I was like, how's your day? It's okay. If there's something bugging you or something you want to talk about that was astonishing and fantastic, then that door's open to bring that up. Like, hey, wait, something really cool happened, and it creates a different conversation. but you guys want to decompress. You want to talk about yourselves, but that's an established relationship too. So you
Yes.
guys
Yeah.
have been there. I think when you're starting in a relationship, you sort of want to know about the person.
Yes.
You want to learn what his or her quirks are, what their likes, dislikes are. So I am just dating you as a new person. Tell me about your day at work. I want to know what things irritate you, because that's part of your seeking out, a closer relationship with a potential partner, knowing that he or she is upset because Carl ate all the Snickers bars in the snack bar. Not that would ever happen, Lisa, right? We know that would never happen. A little inside joke, everyone. Sorry, and busted on somebody we used to work with, but something, but something like that. You could talk about something like that and saying, "My God, I need to get this. Why did you ruin your dinner by eating a Snickers on the way home? Because I wanted one at lunch and there was none in the snack bar at work." That's a good couples conversation that could happen. I don't know. So you ruined your dinner appetite. So now we're not going out and we're just going to stay here and have Rice Krispies because you're not hungry. Just kind of funny exaggerations, but you want to get to know folks. You want to know that kind of thing. And now we used to do calls like, "What do you want for dinner?" I'm like, "Haven't thought of that. What about takeout? Let's do Chinese takeout or something."
Yeah.
We'd arrange that where it was like, you call it in, I'll pick it up on the way back type thing. And that was fun to do that. But you get to know somebody if you're in a committed relationship, spending time. You learn these things. You learn things you don't have to communicate. Also, I think you go full circle. You learn a lot about each other, hopefully talking and discussing. Then you get to that point where, "How's your day?" "Great." "How was yours?" "Great. Let's have dinner."
Cool.
And then there's a point where you're not even talking, where you're just like, "Hey, I brought home takeout." Like, "Oh my God, I was thinking about that." I mean,
Yes.
it just goes the full cycle there. So
She gets so
I see I see a smile. So I've struck a nerve with that comment. So your thoughts on that? Is that just totally silly, or is that like kind of resonating with you?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, that's how my ex was. Like, I could just tell, like, if something was bothering him, and if he wanted to talk about it, I'd let him talk, and if he didn't, that was okay too. I would never push. But I think the longer you're with somebody, the more you get to understand like what makes them tick and what makes them, who they are.
Mhm.
And if they're upset or like if they need space, some people need space, some people need to vent, and you just let them vent and you just listen. It all just depends on who you're with. So.
That's good. So we promised Peter that we wouldn't go long today because Peter has to get home and do his dog's
Take care of his pups. Yep.
as well. And but I'm really hopeful that I feel like only now, an hour in, have we just scratched the surface and started to really kind of talk and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because the podcast is like a little mini relationship in a sense, isn't it?
Yeah, with 4.5 people, it really is.
Yeah. Well, that's the audience, but I'm just talking like, we have an evolution. Like, she's gotten to know what we say, we've gotten to know how she talks, and there's an evolution in this. The point is, will you come back?
Yeah.
Awesome. And you can bring some other questions, other probing questions that are out there, or something you think other folks might be interested
Speaking
in
of
hearing.
aliens.
Yes. Yes, aliens. Or Ford's old Ford products from the 80s. Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of Ford, did you guys watch the new movie Ford versus was it Ford
Ferrari?
Yeah, did you guys watch that one
I
yet?
haven't seen that yet.
It's a good movie.
So
You were a technical advisor on that, right?
I was not, but I wish I was. But I know the story. It's the as you know from learning the movie, the Ford wanted to buy Ferrari, and then Ferrari didn't sell, and so Ford dreamed up the GT40 to beat Ferrari, and they did. So I didn't watch the latest one. I guess it passed me by, but I'll check it out. So please come back. This was a great show. It was just so wonderful talking to you. It was much. I thought it was going to be great just from knowing you, but it was even better than I thought it would be. So thank you so much
for having me. I appreciate you having me.
And
We
next
want
time,
you back.
when you come back, next time, Alex doesn't have to tell you. There's going to be a video portion of it, so you'll be fully prepared for that. And you can come back via Zoom, or you can join us here live in the studio. There's 2 other chairs right here, so you can get a cool set of headphones. They come,
Yeah, that'd be great if you came live.
They come
But
off, they come on. It's
Yeah.
great. And you could come here live and just have some laughs with us. So thank you for your time. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
we'll talk again very soon. And good night.
Okay.
Bye. Have a good one.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye now.
Everyone
Bye.
brought to you by Western Mass Council. Thanks for joining us.